Welcome to a new Bitcoin Books video. Today we're diving into a really powerful book by Parker Lewis called Gradually Then Suddenly. And its core argument is pretty intense, that Bitcoin isn't just some speculative asset, it's a rational, maybe even necessary, response to a monetary system that's fundamentally broken. So let's get right into it.
To really get why Bitcoin even exists, you kind of have to go back in time. Back to a moment that honestly changed everything. Parker Lewis makes this point really clearly. The 2008 financial crisis? Yeah, that wasn't just some big recession. It was the moment we completely went off the rails, a point of no return for sane money.
And the response to it was, it was a total mess. It was chaotic, it made no sense. Think about it. First, in March, Bear Stearns is about to go under, and they get saved, okay. But then, just 6 months later, Lehman Brothers collapses. And this time, no bailout. The whole system just gets rocked. And then in a complete 180, a massive $700 billion package gets pushed through to bail out pretty much everyone else. It was just wild.
So you can imagine, this just left everybody scratching their heads and asking some really tough questions. Why do we, the taxpayers, have to pay the price when the big banks are the ones who created this whole disaster in the first place? It just felt like the rules were being made up as they went along.
And for a lot of people, Parker Lewis talks about this himself, this was a huge wake-up call. It completely shattered that idea that, the adults are in charge. And it left this one single really important question just hanging there in the air. And right when this chaos was at its peak, an answer just appeared. Right as the old system was visibly crumbling, an anonymous creator we know as Satoshi Nakamoto proposed something completely new. An electronic cash system that was totally peer-to-peer with no need for any trusted third parties. And that system? It was called Bitcoin. And its whole purpose was, on the surface, pretty simple. But underneath, it was completely revolutionary. The idea was to create a type of digital money that didn't need a bank, didn't need a government to function. A way for you to send value directly to another person, kind of like handing them cash, but doing it online. Okay, so how on earth does that even work without a bank or some central company in charge? Well, the genius is really in its design. See, instead of one big central ledger that a bank controls, everybody on the network has their own independent copy. And the whole thing operates on a super simple premise. Nobody trusts anyone. Instead, everyone verifies everything. It's a system built on proof, not trust. But maybe the most radical idea of all was its monetary policy. And it all boils down to one single number. 21 million. That's it. That is the absolute final number of Bitcoin that will ever exist. And this is where you see the starkest contrast with our current system, right? The supply of US dollars? Well, that's determined by the Fed. It's elastic, meaning it can be increased basically forever. But Bitcoin's supply? Nope. It's governed by a fixed, predictable schedule. It's absolutely scarce. It's ruled by math, not a committee of people.
I mean, the difference could not be more clear. As the book says, the Federal Reserve continues to print trillions upon trillions of dollars, and Bitcoin cannot be printed at all. One is infinite, and the other is finite. This really gets to the core of the whole thing. In a world where our money can literally be created out of thin air, Bitcoin offers something totally different. True, verifiable scarcity.
And the problem isn't just about infinite supply. Our current system is built on a mountain of debt. Just look at these numbers. For every 1.6 trillion actual dollars in the banking system, there's something like $73 trillion in debt that's priced in dollars. It's a huge imbalance. And Lewis argues this creates a kind of debt trap. The only way to possibly deal with all that debt is to, you guessed it, create even more money down the line. So at their very foundations, these two systems are just fundamentally different. The US dollar system is based on trusting human institutions, fallible humans, to make the right calls. And you need permission to really participate. The Bitcoin network, it's based on verifiable math. You don't have to trust anyone, you just have to check the proof. And access is completely permissionless. Anyone, anywhere in the world can use it. Okay, let's tackle the big one. The question that always comes up. A system based on all this math and computer power, doesn't it waste a massive amount of energy? I mean, this is probably the #1 criticism you hear about Bitcoin, right? Well, the book asks us to look at this in a completely different way. The energy use isn't a bug.
It's a feature. It's not waste, it's the cost of security. This whole proof of work thing, it requires spending real-world energy to secure the network. And that's what gives miners skin in the game. It makes it really expensive to try and cheat. It's what makes the whole history of transactions so hard to change. It's the price of having a global, decentralized system without a central boss. Exactly. That energy burn is what anchors the digital world of Bitcoin to the physical world. As Parker Lewis puts it, energy must be expended. It's easy for anyone to verify that the energy was spent, but it's practically impossible to create that proof without actually spending a massive amount of resources. That's what makes it secure. So, okay, if we accept all that, what does it actually mean for us, for our future? Well, it starts by solving a really modern problem for anyone just trying to save. I mean, look at this quote from Ray Dalio, one of the biggest investors in the world. "I still think that cash is trash." When even the pros are saying that, you know there's a problem. And here's why. When your money is basically designed to lose its value over time, inflation, it forces every single one of us onto what Parker Lewis calls a hamster wheel. You can't just put money aside anymore. Your savings are constantly getting devalued, so you're forced to take on more and more financial risk just to try and keep up. The whole economy becomes about financial gains instead of creating real value. This is where Bitcoin comes in. It offers a way to step off that hamster wheel. It brings back a really old idea, a return to savings. The idea that you can just save your money and it can actually hold its value, or maybe even increase in value over the long run without you having to become a day trader. So ultimately, what we're looking at here are two totally different paths forward. On the one hand, you have the current system, an economy built on more and more debt, becoming more complex and fragile with every crisis. What doesn't kill it just makes it weaker. But on the other hand, you have the vision of a Bitcoin standard, an economy built on a foundation of savings and real investment, a system where what doesn't kill it actually makes it stronger. And that brings us to the final, really provocative thought that's at the heart of Gradually Then Suddenly. After all these decades of insane financial complexity and engineering, what if the answer we've been looking for wasn't more of that? What if all we ever really needed was just a better form of money? For those who want to learn more, the link to get the book is available in the video description. If you found this content interesting, please subscribe to the channel and like it to help us reach as many people as possible. Thank you.